What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Remember the Game. It is my retro gaming podcast where every week a buddy of mine and I sit down and we geek out about the games we played back in the day. My name is Adam Blank. Thank you so much for listening to the show. And this week it is episode 295, and it's one of our world-renowned revisited episodes where we take another look at a game we covered way back in the early days of Remember the Game when we had even less of an idea of what we were doing than we do now. And this time around, it's off to the land of the windfish as we talk a little more Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening for ye old Game Boy. This is a fringe top 5 Zelda game for me. I don't know if it quite sneaks in there, but it's right. It's a contender. I love this game. I played it a ton as a kid, and to this day, it's probably the Zelda game I finished the second most after Link to the Past on the Super Nintendo. I also still think it is the best looking game in the original Game Boy's library. One of the most impressive entries in that library as well. I love the way it looks. I mostly love the way it plays. I think it has an awesome setting, a rad side quest. The music is good, and I guess at the end of the day, I'm just a fan. Link's Awakening is just one of those games I could gush about for hours. And when we recorded the original episode of the Remember the Game about this one, which is episode 15, if you're wondering. It's 280 episodes ago. The remake wasn't out yet, I don't think. Maybe it was? I don't think it was. Anyways, we get into the remake a little bit this week as well. We kind of just talk about the franchise as a whole, too. It's a whole lot of Zelda talk this week for you long-eared, sword-pulling bomb throwers. And you can't talk Zelda without a McCue popping up. So Bradley McCue is my guest this week, and we're going to tell you all about waking up a fish in an egg in a bird's nest while trading dog food and bananas and looking for seashells. It's seriously much more entertaining than that just made it sound. And we'll get there in just a minute because speaking of being more entertaining than it sounds, it's time for another edition of the Remember the Game infamous intro. Dun, 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 dun! And if you're new to the podcast, welcome aboard. Consider this your warning. Listen, our intros are kind of long, but they're fun. We talk video games and stuff, and they won't crush the battery life of your phone like playing the Game Boy would do to those AA's back in the day. So if you do want to skip it, if you just want Link's Awakening talk, go to about the 30-minute mark, and you should be around there. But I recommend hanging around for the whole thing. Let us talk about video games and stuff. Now, before I get into my normal rigmarole with my plugs and things, my other plugs. A couple things. One, don't forget, I will be at GameCon Canada here in Edmonton this June 14th to 16th. It's video games, it's board games, it's all kinds of games. It's going to be a really good time. And our Toronto comedy show on June 28th is sold the fuck out, baby. Suck my ass, Mark Breslin. For anyone that doesn't know, I reached out to a comedy club and tried to rent it for our show, and he told me no because nobody knew who I was, and now we rented a theater and sold it out instead, so fuck him. There might be a couple more tickets available between now and June 28th. I will post about them on my social medias if that is the case, but thank you to everyone that scooped those tickets up. A huge shout out to my friend Mario and his crew over at Stage West Express for being the official sponsors of this magical night in Toronto. Mark and I are very grateful for their support, and we're looking forward to it. And finally, a quick shout out to everyone that came by our booth at the Calgary Comic Expo this past weekend. It was a really good time. If you want to know all about the setting up of that, the fiscal obligations and all that kind of stuff, you can hear all about it on The Rambling Idiot from yesterday for all of our Patreons. All right, let me get my plugs out of the way. We have merchandise. You can find it all at rememberthegamepodcast.com. It is all designed by my man Joe from 4545 Creative. It is fucking sick. I'm quite proud of it. If you want to check those out, awesome. And of course, if you don't like clothes, I get it. Check us out on Patreon. It's about the best deal in the history of the internet. We offer 4 extra shows each week. Monday, Mark McCue and I talk Simpsons on Purple Monkey Dishwasher. Tuesday, I talk about whatever the fuck I want on The Rambling Idiot. Like I said, yesterday I broke down, I spent an hour just going through like the whole process of setting up, running a booth at the Calgary Expo. The feedback's been good, so at least some people liked it. Every Friday, it's Game Patch, where we talk about all the biggest news in modern video games. And every Thursday, it is Expansion Pass, and that is a different show each week. We do game rankings. We look back at characters and consoles. I do a lot of modern game reviews. There's some comedy episodes. This past week was Expansion Pass 209. The topic was in the hand of our Patreons, and Adam's top 3 games from every genre came out on top. So some of our listeners took liberties with what could be considered a game genre per se, but I had fun with with it. It was a longer episode. We went through a ton of categories. And as is becoming tradition, here is a sneak peek of last week's episode of Expansion Pass, Adam's top 3 titles in every genre. We'll start with the love sauce, who wrote in and said, Metroidvanias. Mine are Super Metroid, Castlevania Symphony of the Night, and Hollow Knight. I knew this was going to come up. This one came up a whole bunch. I fucking love Metroidvanias. And I'm like, and again, I would have liked to have gone through and pre-written all my answers, but I'd like to answer in the heat of the moment instead. I'm like, fuck, Super Metroid is up there. Metroid Dread is up there. Hollow Knight is up there. The Guacamelee games are up there. Ori games are up there. Fuck me. We're on the first one. Okay. You know what? I'm going to write these down in my notes as I answer it so that I have them. Number 3, I'm going to go with, you know what? I have to count them down, favorite to least favorite. That's the only way I'm going to be able to do this. Number 1 for me is going to be Metroid Dread, I think. I really, Metroid Dread's my favorite Metroid game, and Metroids are Metroidvanias, so I think by default, it kind of sneaks into my place as my number 1 favorite Metroidvania of all time. Number 2, I'm going to go Hollow Knight. That game is fucking gorgeous and just tells a great story. I'm praying that Silk Song eventually dethrones it, but we will see. Yeah, those are easily my top 2, but then it's like, fuck, Super Metroid, Ori, Guacamelee. I think I gotta go with Ori and the Blind Forest. Yeah, I'd really like to go Metroid, Super Metroid. I'm gonna go Ori and the Blind Forest. So that is now available in our archives, and this week it's Expansion Pass 210. And Switch successor speculation is running wild. We know that Nintendo's next console is right around the corner. They've got to reveal it soon. So I thought I'd lay out some things I would do if I was in charge of their next system. And I'd read some of your ideas as well. So that's what we're going to do on tomorrow's Expansion Pass. Again, Patreon subscriptions start at $3 a month to get new podcasts every week, instant access to literally hundreds upon hundreds. I don't know. I don't want to be flagged for like false advertising. I think all in, there's about 600 bonus podcasts waiting over there right now. And they're all ad-free, ready to go. Download onto your phone. You can add them to Spotify, whatever the fuck you want. $3 a month is where that starts. And not only do you get podcasts, but you get access to our Discord. You get a chance to vote in our Patreon poll every month. You get the ability to submit comments to be read on our shows. You get DM with me. And you even get a shout out and get to hear me mispronounce your name like I'm about to most of these people. A huge thank you to our newest Patreons, Michael Kerrigan, Brett Thompson, Tyrus Williams, Corey Bantic Rage, JP Hendricks, Sneeze from NC. I'm thinking North Carolina. I can't think of what else. It's probably North Carolina. And Luke's father. I wonder if that's really... Is that Darth? My God. Wow. I don't think I fucked up a single name this week. Look at me. Hot dog. Anyway, thank you all so much for the support. And welcome to Remember the Game Industries, patreon.com/rememberthegame. We donate 5% of it to the Stollery Children's Hospital every December as our part of our extra live stream. And we offer annual subs that'll save you a month's fees. And finally, you can find me on Twitch. I haven't been over there much the last couple of weeks, but I will be on there again this week now that my comedy schedule is slowing down. Twitch.tv/rememberthegame. Come by and say hi. That's enough blowing myself. Let's blow some of you by blowing in some cartridges. It is our opening segment here on the show. I read a few comments and questions from our Patreons, usually gaming related, but not always. And we call this segment Blowing in the Cartridge.
He blows all right. He blows big time.
That's it, honey. Get into the spirit.
Let's blow. Our first blower this week is You'll Have to Speak Up, I'm Wearing a Towel, who said, hey, Adam, are there any items from your favorite games you thought would look cool, or you thought looked cool, and you would love to have a toy version of them? Mine was the Lancer from Gears of War. I always thought it was one of the coolest looking weapons in gaming. One time I was at a Halloween party, and someone came in with a toy version of it, and the chainsaw actually moved and made noise, and I thought, where the fuck did you get that, and where can I get one? But you didn't think to fucking tell us where it was, Towel. Son of a bitch. Let me think. Yeah. I mean, there's definitely been items I've seen in video games that I've always thought look cool. I'm a little bit nervous to answer this. Like, listen, I'm going to answer this. Nobody's sending me a goddamn thing. All right. You people send me stuff and I'm grateful beyond words, but I'm like, I always feel bad. I'm like, just listen to the show. You don't have to send me things. You know what I would really, a Lancer from Gears of War would be pretty sick. I agree. That's probably the coolest looking gun of all time. Or I've always thought the, oh fuck, what are they called? It's right on the tip of my tongue. In Halo, the alien guns with the pink needles. God. I want to say Tweezer, and I don't think it's Tweezer. but I know a bunch of you are probably listening right now, and you're like, you fucking asshole. It's called That Gun. I've always thought That Gun looked really cool. Being at the Calgary Comic Expo this past weekend, I saw a lot of people walking around with like Buster swords, Cloud's Buster sword. I'm actually a pretty big fan of that sword. I think that's the coolest looking sword of all time. Like, some will argue the Master Sword. Nay, give me the Buster Sword. I think that'd be pretty neat. And actually, like, materia from Final Fantasy, like, not tiny little marble-sized ones, but maybe, like, a set of, and I think you can get them in places, but a set of materia orbs, like, the size of, like, maybe a baseball. Like, just the colors. I've always thought they looked really, really cool as well. I would say that's probably some of the stuff that's right near the top of my list. Buster Sword is probably number one. The Buster Sword is fucking pretty sick. I don't have room for one in here, but they're pretty sick. Makeshift Mellow Magic Money said, what do you think a Remember the Game would look like 20 years from now? Oh, I see. For example, do you think it would look back? Okay, let me start this over. I think you didn't word it incorrectly, but sometimes people just word things differently than how I would have, and it fucks me up. I'm going to read this verbatim, and I'm sure it'll make sense at the end. Makeshift Mellow Magic Money wrote in and said, what do you think a Remember the Game would look like 20 years from now? For example, do you think it would look fondly back on Ghost of Tsushima, which was originally released for the PS4? Or will today's games just be a dime a dozen in the future with no nostalgia, like the games of the 80s and 90s have now? You know what? I was talking about that with somebody at the expo this weekend, because I had my NES set up there and people were coming by, and like, it was really cool watching parents get their kids to play the NES and telling them like, this was my Mario when I was a kid. And I said that to a few people. I was like, do you think like Fortnite or Ghost of Tsushima or Mario Odyssey or the games today, will kids from today look back on those games with the same nostalgia we look back on games from the 80s and 90s? Or it's because there's so many games nowadays, do they all just kind of blend together, and will they look back more on the consoles? I think they will look back on them like with that same, because there were people in the Atari ColecoVision era, that's before my time, that still look back on those games fondly. I look back on the NES fondly. We added the Xbox 360 and PS3 to our rotation because some of our younger listeners were like, yo, when I was in elementary school, I was all about the PS3, and I loved insert game on the PS3 or the Xbox 360 and stuff. So I think it's a fair question. I think it's a fair question. No question. Fuck, I suck at this. Because you're right. There's just so many games today and they do all kind of blend in. But I do think there'll be games that'll stand the test of time. I think 20, 30 years from now, a kid will be walking, someone that's a kid now will be out with their kid and they'll be like, oh, Roblox or Minecraft or Fortnite or Rocket League or whatever, insert your game here. They will look back fondly on them. Nostalgia is a powerful drug, man. Everybody holds the stuff they grew up with near and dear to their heart. So I don't think they're going anywhere. I think kids will look back on them fondly. I really do. It would make me so happy if like 20 years from now when I'm long retired and quite possibly dead, I gotta lay off the cheese. There's like some kid out there in like their 20s that starts a new Remember the Game and looks back on the games that we're playing right now, like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and they're like, "Oh, that was their Final Fantasy VII." Like that would warm my heart. I hope so. Nostalgia can never die. I hope. I pray. It better not. Lachdar 9877 said, "Okay, I want to start a thread, although the Discord is probably a better place for it. How has video games changed or bettered your life? It's just a thought that's been on my mind lately, as they literally saved my life. So I'd like to hear other accounts." I may be wrong on this because at this point we've done so many episodes I can't keep track of all of them. But I think we did an expansion pass years ago talking about how games have changed our lives. But I have to say, obviously, first and foremost, I'm living I have my dream job because of video games. But it's not just the way that they've impacted me from obviously a fiscal standpoint and from my profession standpoint. Like I have made most of my best friends I've made through video games. Like our community has been so cool. We have people do meetups in our fucking community and stuff. And I'm sure it's not just in our community. Lots of people meet strangers online playing Call of Duty or whatever the fuck, and then they just become friends and they get to know each other. I think they're a great way for people to connect with each other. I think some people have had their art or maybe their interests inspired by video games. Maybe it's convinced some people to get into development or get into creating anything because of the way that video games changed their lives. At this point, like people can talk about how music has changed their lives, a certain movie has changed their life, a certain TV show has changed their life, a certain book has changed their life. I'm like, video games are right there, possibly even more so because video games have just become so embedded in our culture. I think it's impossible to ignore the impact that games have had in some of our lives. So I will say, from a personal standpoint, aside from my job, they've helped me make friends. That's what I connect with people. It's the number one thing I know. This past weekend at the expo, I talked to so many people about video games, and that's just how I connect with people. So I think that's a reasonable answer. Yeah, that's how they've changed my life. God, I love video games. Smith said, good day, Mr. Blank. Lately, you've mentioned several times that playing theme songs and other music on your streams and podcasts will get you in trouble. I was wondering if you could share any instances where you've gotten in trouble, and what was the penalty or punishment? What other transgressions are you aware of, and how close have you come to being deplatformed or demonetized or otherwise banned from a service? To be fair, like, I do say that. I haven't gotten in any really serious trouble. I genuinely don't know what the laws are in regards to me using the music from games that I'm covering. Some people have written in and said, like, well, you can do it as long as you're reviewing a game and stuff like that. But then I also know other people are not allowed to. I do live in constant fear of the day that someone, like, just drops the hammer on me and is like, hey, you may be reviewing our game, but you can't have that music in there. Most of the problems I run into are the episodes. We have all our episodes on YouTube. And I get flagged being like, hey, this is a claim, and it's not like a copyright claim, but it's the one where they monetize it and take the ad revenue, which I don't really give a fuck about. I have ads on YouTube, and I've had them on for like 6 months, and I haven't made enough money off of them to get paid by YouTube. So it's not like it's costing me money per se. So usually when I say I'm going to get in trouble if I play it for too long, that's what it is. But one thing I have seen is other streamers, particularly on Twitch, I've seen people get their streams shut down. Or pardon me, particularly on YouTube, excuse me, which is where I record my episodes for the Patreons. I've seen people get their streams shut down because of licensed music and stuff being in them. So when I say I'm worried about getting in trouble, that's usually what I mean. And then there's obviously stuff like if we're covering, a Tony Hawk game or a Grand Theft Auto game or whatever, and it has like not just video game music, but like Flock of Seagulls from Vice City, like that one got flagged fucking everywhere. So stuff like that. But I've been pretty lucky so far. And I don't really feel like I take advantage of the music. I try to use the music for the game we're covering or that we're reviewing most of the time. And, it's not like I'm like, hey, come download my show and listen to all these songs for free. I just like to put in the clips to get you in the mood. It's all about getting you in the mood, baby. So far I've been lucky. Ninja Kicked the Damn Rabbit said, hey, Adam, this has probably been asked before, but I'm going to ask anyway. What are the chances that you would be open to somehow rating your Patreon fans' game collections or game rooms? Maybe even giving out a blankie to your favorite submissions. I'm sure there's a lot of us in the community that would be proud to show off our collections and have really good submissions to showcase. Anyways, just a thought. I don't know. It's like a lot of people have asked me to roast the Patreons, which I'll never do because I'm like, I've been a comedian now for over 8 years. And a lot of people want to be roasted until they get roasted, and then they don't like it very much. And I'm not going to do that to the people that pay my bills. That's not going to happen. I do genuinely, and I say this is not even remotely sarcastic. I fucking love looking at people's game collections. They call it game porn. Game porn. I love looking at game porn. I love looking at people's video game collections. I don't know if I would ever go as far as to give out an award because, dude, people get mad at me if I don't read their comment. People are like, I'm sick of listening because my comments don't get read. And I'm like, so I don't want to give out an award and have like 400 people be like, my room was better than theirs. But I do think if we don't already have one, and I don't know, I'll have to check. But if we don't have a room in our Discord for just showing off game collections, I think we do. We have a gaming setups room, yeah. I love going in there and just looking at people's game. I could look at people's game rooms for days. It is my favorite thing. So I don't know if I'd ever specifically give out an award because I wouldn't want to face the wrath of everybody that didn't win. But fuck yeah, baby. Never, ever, ever hesitate on social media to tag me in the comment of a picture of your game room because I want to see them. Of your game room. You sons of bitches. I want to see them. Fuck, I love looking at people's video games. Turns me on. 2 more quick ones here. Butter Chicken said, have you ever considered putting in some Rambling Idiot or Purple Monkey dishwasher clips to the Peek Past the podcast? Like in that little sample where I usually show Expansion Pass? I haven't. But that's interesting. Is that something people be interested in? One thing I am going to be doing at some point this summer, and I'll post about it on all my social media when I do it, is I will be doing a free week on Patreon. You won't be able to submit comments, but anyone that's not a full-blown Patreon will be able to sign up for a free Patreon account, and you'll get that week's Purple Monkey Dishwasher, the Rambling Idiot expansion pass, and game patch as like a free sample to show them off. I've also considered uploading a few more of our Patreon archived episodes to our Remember the Game feed, just to show people what they're all about, but I haven't considered putting clips of them in here. I could start a new tradition, but the problem is the expansion pass clip is finally becoming a tradition. Once it's a full-blown tradition, then maybe we'll start another tradition. It's not a bad suggestion, though. And finally, before we move on, it's letter time. It's letter time. Pee-wee Squitters says, all right, Adam, now hear me out. We know you hate PC games, but what if you played the first Fallout and reviewed it on Remember the Game? I bet you would be wildly topical right now. Truth be told, if I had known what a success the Fallout TV series was going to become, I would have had a Fallout 3 episode ready for this week, because I still want to really review Fallout 3, but I need to do a replay first, and as I'm sure many of you are aware, that is not a short project. That said, while I am pretty staunchly anti-PC, I genuinely really want to play Fallout 1, Fallout 2, and Fallout Tactics. I'm not going to sit here and promise that I'll do them anytime soon. I still have to get through Beautiful Joe, X-Men 2, The Clone Wars, Mass Effect 3, and what the fuck just won this month's Patreon poll that just ended? Oh, God. Donkey Kong 64. That just won, so I need to get through all those. Plus, I'm still trying to finish Rebirth 2 months later. I'm still trying to finish Cyberpunk like 2 years later. So I'm not going to promise it anytime soon, but I can assure you, while I do despise PC games, the early Fallouts are on my radar. And I can play them on my Steam Deck, I believe, which is where I would play them. Never say never. They're on my radar 100%, but so are like 3 billion other games. And I just fucking stupid comedy keeps getting in the way. All right. Thank you, Pee-wee, for writing in. Thanks to everybody that wrote in. We got to change things up. Let's get to our Smash Hit segment, the official game show of Remember the Game Industries. It is Play 1, Remake 1, Erase 1. And a huge thank you to Classic Concentration from the NES for unknowingly providing us with the theme music for the show. The rules are simple. Every week I give our Patreons 3 retro video games. They can play one as it was released, remake one as a modern game, and the third is erased from time forever. As always, there are no wrong answers, but there is a right one. We'll get there in just a minute. This week we're talking Zelda, so I went with 3 old school linkers. We've got Zelda 1 and Zelda 2 from the NES, and then the Oracle games combined for the Game Boy Color. And it was a tie. I think this might be the first time ever we had a tie for the winner. 26% of you said you'd play the Oracle games, you'd remake Zelda 1, and you'd erase Zelda 2. 26% more said they'd play Zelda 1, remake Zelda 2, and erase the Oracle games. It was all over the map. And we had 98 comments this week, which might be a Play 1, Remake 1, Erase 1 record. So let's see what a few of you had to say here. Then I'll tell you what the right answer was. Mike Effin Banks said play the Oracle games as they are masterpieces. Remake Zelda 1, and then erase Zelda 2 because it's not even remotely as good as the others. I don't know if I'd agree with that. I mean, it's my least favorite of those games as well. But I don't know if it's not even remotely as good. It does need a face paint. It does need a new paint of face. I agree with that. Patty O'Brien said, play Zelda 2 because I've barely sunk any time into it. Remake the Oracle games because there's some fun ideas and mechanics there. They just need more. And then erase the Legend of Zelda because I've already beaten it and I can't picture myself ever playing it again. See, that is sound erase it logic. You're like, I beat it. That game, I love the original Zelda, but that game is a fucking grind. I don't know if I'll ever play it again either. So I can get on board with that. I can get on board with that logic. Patty O'Brien said, play Zelda. Oh, wait, excuse me. I just read Patty O'Brien. You're on double secret probation for me almost reading your comment twice, Patty. It's not my fault. Yeah, you fucking had to sit there in my notes so right in the way. Gus the Bus said, remake Zelda 2. I want a Hollow Knight Metroidvania Zelda game. Hollow Knight Metroidvania Zelda game. Easy for me to say. Fuck, that would be sick. Delete the Oracle games because that's 2 less games to play for the price of 1. And then play the OG because I haven't and I wanna. I love that the only reason you're erasing the Oracle games is so it's 2 less games to play. The polar opposite of most gamers. I like that. J Smack said, I hate to do this, but play Oracle, remake Zelda, and erase Zelda 2. I haven't played the Oracle game, so I have to. I can't erase the original because it might fuck up history. And unfortunately, Zelda 2 has to go, but I think it's a pretty decent game. I agree. Zelda 2 is a good game. It's too fucking hard, but it is a good game. And Gal Game Show 6. Gal Game Show 6, I have no idea if I said that right, said, finally, I feel competent enough to weigh in. I'm going to play Zelda because we already have Breath of the Wild, which is arguably Shigeru Miyamoto's version of the original fully realized. I'm going to remake the Oracle games because we don't have enough creative Capcom developed Zeldas. And of course, I'm going to erase Zelda 2. This is the only Zelda game I haven't beat, so I feel no guilt burning the stain on the franchise off my backlog and out of existence. Zelda 2 gets too much shit. I mean, you're speaking with logic there, Game and I get it. But Zelda 2, I think Zelda 2 is fine. It's just too hard, but it is fine. I'm personally going with the runner-up. We had the 2 co-winners, and then third place came in at 19%, and that's the one I'm going with, as did I Am Error, who said, play the Oracle games because they're not as outdated as the others. I'll remake Zelda 2 to give it the love it deserves with a fresh coat of paint with modern-style gameplay and graphics, and I'll erase Zelda 1 because we already have enough beloved Zelda titles that are better. Bye, OG Zelda. I love you, and I'll miss you. Exactly. I feel like Shawn Michaels ending Ric Flair's career for like the third of 300 times that he retired. Being like, I'm sorry, I love you. That's how I feel. I'm about to super kick Zelda 1. For any of you that are wrestling fans, that made sense. I myself, I'm going to play the Oracle games because I've played Oracle of Seasons once and loved it. I never played Oracle of Ages, and I have to. I'm going to remake Zelda 2 because I think it's a fucking awesome concept. It just needs a little bit more spit shine. And I think that could be done. And I'm going to erase the original Zelda 1 because, again, I'm sorry. I love you. It's a great game. I'm a huge fan of it. But I have Link to the Past. I don't ever need to play Zelda 1 again. I have Link to the Past. So thank you, everybody, very much that wrote in to play along as always. Now, before I get into what I've been playing and then we talk some Link's Awakening, we have to check in with the nerds over at Hourcade. It's been a while. Let's see what they've been up to. Now, if you don't know, Hourcade is a dope online retro arcade where you play games and compete in daily contests for cash, prizes, and of course, leaderboard glory. Now, first off, they've got new games. Claim Invaders is rolling live with leagues and cash prize contests. That is my new favorite Hourcade game, and I'm not just saying that. It is. I love another Invaders game, and this is fucking awesome. I love that game. Glugger is open for practice now. Contests will be coming within a week. They've got Ocean Odyssey in the oven right now, which is a spin on Lunar Landing. And then after that, Our Canoid is coming after that one. That one has me hot and bothered, for real. Our Canoid, I know exactly what that is going to be, and that... Oh, buddy, put that in my veins. And they haven't just been adding games over at Hourcade. Listen to this. They've added new one-day pewter leagues. That's a great pull for all you noobs. So that you can compete with people on your level and not just get stomped by the longtime players. Which I really like that because I hate playing online and getting just walloped by the heavyweights. I like that there's a place for us noobs. That's great. They've also added teams. So you can create a team and see how you stack up against your friends. And you can take your team's entire collective scores and see how they rank up against other teams as well. Now, Hourcade did point out that their team is number 1 on the leaderboards and wished everybody good luck at beating them, which sounds like a challenge. So come help me. Anyone that has entered any of our previous Remember the Game Hourcade codes is automatically on Team RTG, and if you enter the password HOTDOG, all lowercase, at hourcade.io now, you're part of the squad. When you play, your points get added to Team RTG. Let's take them down. Hot dogs, assemble. I like that pull. And finally, they're adding more prizes. Every time you play Hourcade, you earn Cade that you can redeem for stuff in the Hourcade, including cameos, which are very, very limited. You unlock one of those in Hourcade, and they will turn you into a character that randomly shows up in their games. It's pretty awesome. And I am proud to say that yours truly is cameo number 1. It's insane. All of you have been asking where my new Instagram and Twitter avatar came from, that pixelated little Adam. That is Cameo Adam. Hourcade made that. He looks awesome. He's got some bomber to him. It's a little blue. And it just made my day when I saw it. He will show up randomly in your games now. So play Hourcade, earn some Cade, and redeem it for a cameo of your own. And you'll be in the games. It's seriously so cool. And then finally, they have added some rad new knights, to their ye old Pong game that you can scoop up as well. Shogun Knight, Forest Knight, Flame Knight, and Frost Knight, which are green, red, and blue. Everybody gets that pull. That is awesome. Honey Knight, Thick Knight, which is my personal favorite. I like my knights thick. And Our Cam night. Awesome. I love seeing how much these guys are growing. They're adding new prizes that you can unlock by just earning Cade points by playing. There's lots more cash prizes out there. I am proud to be a partner of Arcade, and the Remember the Game community is embracing them. Come join Team RTG and help us take it to the top while competing for cash prizes at the same time. Check them out on your computer, phone, wherever at Arcade.io, or use the handy link in the description of this podcast. All right, what have I been playing over the last 7 days? Truth be told, nothing. Well, not very much. I've been doing stand-up. I've been at the fucking expo. I have been working like a son of a bitch. But when I have time, I have been playing a little bit of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. That review is coming in May. I'm going to finish that game this month. I'm firing up Beautiful Joe finally. We still want to make that next week's episode, so I'm going all in on Beautiful Joe this week. And then honestly, you know what I've been playing is NES. I picked up a bunch of games at the Calgary Expo this weekend, like actual physical NES cartridges. I picked up A Boy and His Blob. I picked up The Simpsons, Bart vs. the World. I picked up Spy vs. Spy. I picked up WWF WrestleMania. The game sucks so bad. Trivia note, that's the only episode we've ever started and then canceled because we started recording it and realized like there's just nothing to this fucking game to talk about. WrestleMania sucks so hard. And then I picked up Mike Tyson's Punch-Out for the NES. I will beat Soda Popinski. Mark my fucking words. And then I also picked up Secret of Evermore and Turtles in Time for the Super Nintendo. I just haven't had time to play those ones yet. But I've been on this like retro kick lately. My NES is running now. I got my Genesis hooked up now. So I've been playing a little Sonic 2 on that. When I've had time to play, I've mostly been playing retro stuff. But beginning this afternoon, it's all about Beautiful Joe for the next week to get ready for next week's episode. If by some chance I can't get it done in time, we're going to cover X-Men 2, The Clone Wars for the Genesis. But I'm hoping to be done with Beautiful Joe in time to record Sunday night. So I've always wanted to sink my teeth into that game. Really looking forward to it. So that's basically all I've been playing over the last week. Times have been busy, all right? I know we're past the 30-minute mark. This has been a long intro. That's my job. What are you going to do? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to pause here. I need a drink of water. We're going to let a sponsor come in and peddle their wares. And then it's all Link's Awakening from here on out, okay? So we will be right back after this. We've had some great partners over the years here at Remember the Game, but I don't know if any of them have hit home for me quite like Hometown Hero does. No pun intended. Don't start. It's a transparent, honest cannabis company that helps people and gives back to those that have served their country at the same time. I mean, come on. As soon as I read about these guys, I knew I wanted to work with them. Hometown Hero is a cannabis company out of Austin, Texas, and they were founded back in 2015 by a U.S. veteran. They have two goals: create premium hemp products that can help everyone, and to support veterans by donating a portion of those profits to organizations set up to take care of those who have served. Hometown Hero products are of the highest quality, and everything they offer is made right there in the U.S. of A. Gummies, caramels, chocolates, drink mix. There's something for everyone. And what's more, their hemp is grown locally in Texas, which is something they should and do take a lot of pride in. And they offer certificates of analysis for everything they sell because they want to be clear that their products are as advertised, both in terms of potency and ingredients. No contaminants, you get what you pay for. Just how they conduct business is enough to get my good eyes' attention. But when you circle back to the fact that the company was founded by a veteran and they put such heavy emphasis on supporting veterans, this isn't just lip service. I'm not reading a script I was given here. I'm proud to have Hometown Hero associated with Remember the Game. Reclaim your evening. Visit hometownhero.com and use code RTG to take 20% off your first purchase. That's hometownhero.com, code RTG for 20% off your first purchase. This is an ad by BetterHelp. A band once said, "Work sucks, I know." And I think most people agree with them. Workplace stress is now one of the top causes of declining mental health, with 61% of the global workforce experiencing higher than normal levels of stress from their jobs. And while walking away from your job might not be an option, taking a little time every day to focus on yourself and your mental health can make a huge difference. I know in the summer I try to get outside every day, get a little bit of sun, and just enjoy the outdoors. It really helps. At least until my allergies attack, and then it's ugly. It's important to take steps to combat work stress, and therapy can be a huge one. It's not just for overcoming trauma. Therapy can help you define work goals, set some work boundaries, develop coping skills. It's like a cheat code for life. And if you're thinking, man, I'm too busy for therapy, well, Look into BetterHelp. They make therapy as convenient as possible. You can meet with one of their over 30,000 therapists online and on your schedule, just like over 5 million people around the world already have done. As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. Unwind from work with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/rememberthegame. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/rememberthegame. All right, let's get into Link's Awakening, baby. As always, I like to let you nerds sound off on the game we're covering before my guest and I hog the mic, and we had a lot of comments on this one, as we always do when we're talking a Zelda game. So let's rip through a few of your thoughts. Tim Vitulo said, A Link to the Past was my first video game, and I was hooked. Naturally, all I could think about was another Zelda that I could play in the car, no less. I never understood it as a kid, and I could never beat it to get the full story as a result. Still, I spent countless hours trying to find seashells and solve the overworld puzzles to open the next dungeon. As an adult, it's one of my favorite Zelda games. Both the remake and the DX version are worth replaying. They offer different things. I replay DX annually, and I am in awe of this adventure every time. This game fuels my desire for more Zelda games that don't take place in Hyrule. I agree with that. I think it's awesome that this game is not in Hyrule. That's one of the things Bradley and I get into. I like that they kept the original formula but gave it a new setting. It's like putting the same seasoning on different meat. I like it. Matt D said, this is the first and only top-down Zelda game I've actually finished. I adore the 3D Zelda games, but I've always had a hard time with the top-down RPGs in general. I played the remake of this one when it came out and found it a wonderful, tight, not too long game. I tried A Link to the Past after this, and it's just too much wandering for me. This one is great. Choking out my own rage here. No, I get it, because I feel that way about 3D Zelda. By and large, I much prefer my top-down 2D Zeldas, so different strokes for different folks. Some of us like wings, and some of us like the... What are the other chicken wings? Thighs? Is that what they are? Legs? I prefer the wings. Anyways, Max Power said, I had this for the original Game Boy and I played the hell out of it. My 12-year-old self got stuck somewhere on it, and all I remember was going through every screen, digging where I could dig. After a week, I put it on the shelf and forgot about it. Flash forward 17 years, and I stumbled upon my Game Boy when I helped clean out my parents' house. Picked up right where I left off and beat it 3 hours later. Great game. I'd love to play an updated version of it, but I have none of those systems. Someday. I'm not saying a Switch is worth buying just for the Link's Awakening remake, but if you ever get your hands on a Switch, the remake of Link's Awakening is a must-play, in my opinion. It is superb. Zach McLean said, this was the game that changed me from a casual gamer to a hardcore gamer. I remember getting stuck a bunch and talking to another kid at school about where to find a key or what the next trade was in the trading game, and finally grinding it out and beating it. I freaking loved this game. Good times. Well said. And Slippery Pete, that's a great handle, said, always loved portable games, and I couldn't ask for more from a Zelda game on Game Boy. It had 8 dungeons, and it didn't require the family TV to play it. Agreed. Dude, the fact that they made a game this big and this good and this Zelda-y and made it portable is fucking wild. I couldn't agree with that more, and it's time for Bradley and I to sing the praises of Link's Awakening. I'm going to cue up some of that awesome old chiptune music. And when it stops, Bradley McCue and I are taking another look back at The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, which was released on the Game Boy in North America on August 6, 1993, and on the Game Boy Color in North America on December 15, 1998. Enjoy the podcast, everybody. Let's go. All right, joining me via the blank phone this late Monday evening to talk The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening for the Game Boy Color, Game Boy, the modern one. We'll probably mix a little bit of the modern one, all that stuff. It is a staple here to Remember the Game Industries, and that is Bradley McCue. Bradley, I was just talking to your brother yesterday at the Calgary Expo, but I haven't talked to you in a little while. How's life in the world of Bradley?
Things are pretty good. I'm playing a lot of games lately. I'm teaching. I'm a teacher right now, which is fun.
Look at you. Yes.
Unpaid though. Unpaid, one of those. But it's no, life has been great actually.
My understanding is that actual teachers don't really get paid either. So
well, I can't speak to that without
Have you now I think the question that if I don't ask this, I will get beat up by the community. Have you driven through a drive-through yet and dropped the nothing for me today I've got a class to teach.
Not yet, but you know what? It's tomorrow now that you've
Please
said it.
do. Yes. If
Yeah.
you would, please. We'll put that on TikTok and off to the races.
It'll go viral.
Bradley, we're talking to Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. This is a revisited episode. Your brother and I covered this one way back in the infant days of Remember the Game. And I know it's funny because Mark used to be my go-to guest for Zelda games, and now you have become the go-to guest for the revisiting of said Zelda games because you two are probably the two biggest Zelda fans that I know. So let's just open it right out of the gate, and I'm going to put you on the spot. Forget the remake, because we'll talk a little bit about the remake at the end, because that didn't exist when we did the original. When we're just talking the OG, and we're talking like DX, the Game Boy Color version and everything, where does this sit on your all-time Zelda rankings?
Okay, so I have to try and get through this without. I would say like it's in my top 15, maybe 10, probably 10. No,
Okay.
probably like
this
my
is
top
not
50.
binding. Like I won't hold you to this forever or anything.
Now here is the thing is that I just love Zelda so much that even though I put in my top 15 Zelda games, it is still one of my favorite games ever.
Sure. Yeah. Zelda as a whole just has a stranglehold on your favorite Zelda or your favorite games of all time list, I guess, eh?
Yes, Zelda. I think there are 20 bangers in the Zelda series, and a few non-bangers.
They're good games. I was thinking about this myself earlier today, and like, I don't want to give away my whole rankings because inevitably, eventually, it's someday I am going to do a ranking of all the Zelda games. I think the only ones I need to play to do that ranking are I never finished Twilight Princess because I fucking hated playing on the Wii. I'd like to get the GameCube version, and then I've never played Skyward Sword. I know I know people hate it, but I feel obligated to play it before I do a ranking.
The Twilight Princess is a banger. I had played it on the GameCube growing up, and then I tried to pick up the Wii version, and the Wii version sucks. Like it really does suck. But I will tell you one thing: Skyward Sword stinks, man. It stinks.
Have you played the new one? Have you played the Switch re-release? Because apparently they fixed stuff, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I've not many people come in here defending Skyward Sword. Twilight Princess seems to be a bit of a mixed bag, but people aren't in here defending Skyward Sword at all. So I gotta say for myself, based on all the Zeldas that I have played, which is most of them, I think Link's Awakening is like hanging around the end of my top 5. It's either sneaking in at 5th or it's just missing the cut. I now granted I'm older than you, so I've got maybe more. I bet you I don't know if I have more hours playing this than you or not, but I had a Game Boy back when this game came out, and I had this game on my Game Boy, and I'll tell you, Bradley, when we went from fucking Super Mario Land to the Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, that was some mind-boggling shit back when this game. This was Breath of the Wild to those of us with a Game Boy back in the day. And to this day, I still think, again, forgetting the remake and stuff, I still think this is among, if not the most, I'll say it, among, if not the most impressive game on the original Game Boy. It's one of for sure.
Yeah, I think, you know what? I think I could get behind that because, like, thinking about the Game Boy, a lot of the games were really, like, simplistic, you know, Tetris and you had mentioned Super Mario Land, and Link's Awakening is a sprawling adventure somehow on a handheld console, which...
Yeah, dude.
It
was nuts. Yeah, you took like Super Mario Land. Listen, I will not sit here and disrespect Super Mario Land because that game was my Super Mario Brothers on the go when I was a kid. But you look back on it now and you're like, this is clearly they weren't quite sure what to do with the Game Boy when this came out. This is pretty basic. I sit here right now and I'm looking at images of Link's Awakening on my screen right now, and forget the Game Boy Color port, just the OG. I'm like, this is Link to the Past portable. Like they could have so easily done a Zelda game in the art style of the original NES Legend of Zelda on the Game Boy, and people would have been like, wow. But they swung for the fences and went to the Link to the Past art style.
It truly is an interesting game because they certainly could have phoned it in and been like, that's how the Game Boy works. That's as good as it gets.
Yeah, absolutely. And instead it was, because like, I'm looking it up right now. So this came out August 6, 1993. I'm assuming this came out before Link to the Past, but I'm looking that up right now.
I think Link to the Past came out in early 1992.
Link to the Past.
I could be wrong about that.
1992. Yeah, well done. All right, so it came out almost a year after Link to the Past. Now, I think everybody knows this. It's no spoiler. Link to the Past is still my favorite Zelda game of all time. I
Me
think it
too.
is. Is it? Is it your favorite as well?
Link to the Past?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh
Oh
yeah.
God, I love that. That game is like a comfortable pair of sweatpants. I fucking love
I
that
play it
game
through
so much.
I play it through twice a year because it's one of those games where I just like I know every corner I'm gonna turn. I know exactly what order I'm gonna do stuff in.
Sure.
It's just easy playing.
Yeah, I get that. And when you look at Link's Awakening, it genuinely feels like a portable version of Link to the Past, which for maybe some of our younger listeners that grew up with the Game Boy Advance might not seem that impressive because if I'm not mistaken, there actually is a Link to the Past on the Game Boy Advance.
Yeah, I
But
think there is.
yeah, but like this was mind-boggling shit. We had always settled for like watered down versions of our favorite games on the Game Boy. And we're gonna get into it, but I know I'm harping on it, but I cannot overemphasize what an impressive piece of tech The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening is. And then you get into it, and I'll sit here right now and call my shot. We're gonna spoil it. I've said it in the intro, we're spoiling it. It's not like Zelda games are not exactly known for their robust, deep stories.
And
By
this
and
one in
large.
particular is pretty bizarro. So like
It
talking
is.
about the story is a necessity. It's wacky.
And I have to say that like yeah, the story is kind of off the wall, but I like that. Like
Yeah,
so
me
many
too.
Zelda games, not dunking on them. I like Zelda, but so many Zelda games come down to like, oh, here comes some version of Ganon, and he wants those 3 triangles, and so the elf has to go get the sword from the woods and stop him. Like that's the gist of a lot of Zelda games. And this one is like the Super Mario Brothers 2 of Zelda. They're like, hence the name Link's Awakening. Like
You're in a
Link
dream
washes
world.
up on this island, his shit's gone. He needs to find his stuff, and then there's a giant egg. I still don't understand why there's an egg with a fish in it, but
Yeah.
like,
It's never fully explained, or maybe it is, and I didn't read close enough.
I mean, because eggs. Well, I guess like fish are an egg. Like that's what caviar is, isn't it? Is it eggs? Fish eggs?
Yeah. Fish do come out of eggs, but whales don't.
No, and especially not giant eggs in nests sitting up in the top of a mountain like a fucking bird. It doesn't. Anyway, point is,
Yeah.
dude like washes up on this island and he needs to figure out how to wake up this fish that is in an egg in a bird's nest on the top of a mountain. And by Zelda standards, pretty off the wall story, but it works. And I'm embarrassed to say, as a kid, it did not. Again, spoilers. We're spoiling everything. This is it. It did not click with me that we are trying to wake up this fish to wake Link up until after I beat the game. Hence the name Link's Awakening. I was a dull boy. I was a dull boy.
This game actually reminds me a lot, and boy, I don't know you're going to like this, but it actually kind of reminds me a lot of Majora's Mask because it is sort of like that uncanny valley version of Zelda where it's
Sure.
just kind of a little too out there, but still enjoyable and still its own thing,
Totally.
but not quite a Zelda game.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to say for the record, because like I have taken shit for Majora's Mask ever since you and your brother hosted that episode. That was almost 2 years ago.
Dude,
That was
people are
almost
still
100
junking on you?
episodes ago. I still take the occasional like, I can't believe you don't like Majora's Mask. I just want to make it clear, like I adore the concept of Majora's Mask. On paper, reading it, I'm like, this might be my favorite Zelda game. I just hate the menus and everything. And add in the fact that I don't like the way those games control very much. And I find it infuriating. If they ever remake Majora's Mask, like as a modern game, I will be there day one. I will break my pre-order rule and
They
buy
should
it
do
day
that.
one.
Yeah.
Absolutely, they should. I would love to see Ocarina of Time remade as well. Dude, if they remade that game looking like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, like, fuck me, that would be hot. That's what I'm looking for.
I heard someone say, we're getting a little off the rails here, but I heard someone say, like, wouldn't it be good if they did to Ocarina of Time what they did to Final Fantasy VII Remake?
That's exactly what I want them to do.
Ooh,
That's
that would be
exactly.
good.
I can't think of a pair of Zelda games I want to see remade more than those two.
Ugh, they're
in
dragging their feet
particular-
on it. They know they have the golden goose, and we won't give it to us.
No, they'll do it eventually. How long did it take Square Enix to remake Final Fantasy VII? They even gave us a goddamn like cock tease of it at the PS3 reveal. They were like, "Here's what Final Fantasy VII would look like on the PS3," and we were all like, and they're like, "Yeah, but we're not giving it to you. Fuck off." Like it was you're like, "Here's Final Fantasy 13." And it was like, "It's sons of bitches." So I think it's coming. But for the record, I love the principle of Majora's Mask, and I do agree with you. And that's one of the things I like about this game, and I do adore about Majora's Mask is like, try something different. I wish Mario would do more of that. I like that you're trying something a little bit different.
Yeah, this game is an oddity that I absolutely adore.
Absolutely. So right out of the gate, if you've never played this one, Link wakes up in this it's like that dude is clearly Mario. Right? I don't know I can't remember his name. But that house that you wake up in, like Terran.
Talon?
Talon. Was that his name?
And he has the daughter his daughter's Marin. I remember that one.
Yeah. Like that guy clearly looks like Mario. And he's like, "Oh man, we didn't think you were gonna wake up. Wow." And it was just like, "Oh well, thanks for fucking taking care of me by just letting me die in your bed." But he gives you your shield. You go down to the beach. You use the shield to push those spiky guys out of the way. You get your sword back, and then you're off to the races. And you're exploring this world. And you need to go and collect all the instruments to wake up the windfish to get out of here. So I guess in that sense, it is like a classic Zelda game of like, hey, go to a bunch of like temples, collect a bunch of somethings. Each temple is going to have a new item in it that you can use to access the next dungeon. And so in that sense, it is following the classic formula.
It does feel very Zelda in that sense.
Yeah.
It just like the whimsical, like uncomfortable feeling that you get just from playing the game, just because the world around you doesn't feel cohesive or real, is like, it's intoxicating. I love it.
Yeah, me too. So that's it. Like, and Bradley and I were talking about this off air. You had said that you played a little bit of this to kind of refresh your. Am I correct?
Yeah,
in that?
I played the DX version on Nintendo Switch Online a little bit, because I played the remake through quite a few times, but it'd been a hot minute since I'd played DX, so I played probably only a few hours. But I played the remake last year.
Okay, I played about. I didn't even get to the first temple. Like I for everyone knows, I've been working the Calgary Expo this last week. Like I've been busy, but this is one of those episodes where I feel like we can kind of hark back to the OG days of Remember the Game. And I'm like, I know this one well enough. I bet you the only Zelda game I've played through more times than this one is Link to the Past. Like I know this game well enough that I'm like, I can review this off the top of my head. I might miss a couple of details. Don't yell at me. You should be used to that by now. But one of the things that stands out to me about this game, I want to go back to the old formula we used to have on the show of kind of getting the bad out of the way before we get into the good. I don't even really know if I can hold it against it, because you got to remember, for you youngins, like we were playing this on the Game Boy where we basically had an NES controller. We had a D-pad, start, select, and 2 buttons. We didn't have the Super Nintendo with Y and X. We didn't have the shoulder buttons. We had 2 buttons. Anyone that has played the original Link to the Past or Link's Awakening has to admit that, like, I don't know what the easier solution is, but that inventory system can be a real pain in the ass.
Yeah, because you want to have your sword out all the time, right?
Yeah. So that leaves you one spot for like a shield or a hook shot or that jump leaf, which is God, I wish that the jump leaf was in more fucking items or more games.
The rocks leaf.
Yeah. I love that fucking leaf. And I love that you can combine like the Pegasus boots and the leaf to do the big long jumps, but then you're defenseless because you don't have your sword. And it just feels like if you do a full playthrough of this game, I can't help but think you spend 10% of the game in the menu swapping those 2 items.
Yeah, I completely agree. If we're starting with the negative, I've got one to throw out.
Oh yeah, get in there.
There is a dungeon in this game that stinks. It's so unfun to play, and it's the Eagle's Tower, where you have to like push all of those pillars through the floor on every single floor.
Sure.
Oh man, stinks. It is unnecessarily long and takes way too long to like navigate constantly. Oh, it sucks, man.
I have to say, by and large, I think I've realized I don't like Zelda temples. The more stories that are on your temple, the less likely I am to like it. Like I'm looking at the Ice Temple and Link to the Past. I'm looking at this temple. I'm looking at the fucking Water Temple in Ocarina of Time.
Oh,
Like, it's just the more give me a big spread out temple, I'm all about it. But the more I need to climb and interact with previous floors and stuff, the more it's probably going to grind my gears
yeah.
just
The
a
ice
little bit.
temple in Link to the Past is particularly horrible for that because
I hate that fucking temple.
you never know if you've got the right switch hit when you go down to the bottom level, and then like you don't, so now you have to go all the way back up, hit a switch, come back down. Oh, that one is obnoxious.
Yeah, that one drives me crazy, man.
Oh, I
And then
hate
I
that one.
don't know. All right, so we can agree the inventory system is so if you never played it, yeah, like it's not like a Zelda game where your sword is set to B and you use it all. You can set it to B. Frankly, I think people that set their sword to A are fucking
Insane.
weirdos. Yeah,
Psychopaths.
yeah, you gotta set your sword to fucking B. All right, grow up. But then
Yeah.
the other one can be whatever the fuck you want. But like Bradley said, if you need 2 items at any particular time, you need to take your sword down, and it's just a ton of like pause, go in, take this, pause, go in, and swap. That's a bit of a pain in the ass. I do agree. There's a temple or two that's a little bit annoying. I haven't played it in a few years, but I remember it when you bring up the map in this one. It's not like the Link to the Past map where you can see the entire map and then you need to figure out how to get to where you need to get. This
No, you
map,
have to unlock the pieces of the map.
it's a giant piece of grid paper.
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, there's not a single scrolling screen in this game. Every single, like, I don't remember how big the grid is. Let's just, for argument's sake, call it like 25 by 25. Every single square in this game is its own, like, you walk from tile to tile. There is no scrolling screens.
Yeah, I think you're right. But
And
then
like,
why would they have the map like that? You know what?
yeah, like I assume it's like a Game Boy limitation that they couldn't
Oh,
have the
that makes
scrolling
sense.
screens, which is like by itself not the end of the world. But
Mhm.
motherfuck, dude, I've played that game a dozen times, and I still have instances where I know where I need to get, but I can't for the fucking life of me figure out how to get there. Because I can't see the whole overworld. I need to figure out what you don't open a tile on the map until you've walked into that tile in the game, and then it opens up. So you can see that, like, fuck, the place I need to get is 3 tiles to the right of where I am right now, but I have no idea what is in those 3 tiles in between, and I can't figure out how to get onto them. Did you ever
Yeah.
find that? Like, I did not, like, game ruining for me, but I've yet to have done a playthrough this game where I haven't gotten lost or stuck and tried to figure out how to get somewhere at least once.
I feel like it's a little jarring having played Link to the Past, where you right away you can open the full map of the world and look
Yeah.
at it. And
Yeah.
Ocarina of Time operates the same way. So having played those games and then coming back to this game where you have to unlock the map in like a kind of tedious way, but like I get what they were going for. And again, it could be a limitation, but it definitely is jarring when you compare it to those other games, which how could you not?
Totally. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Like, and not game breaking. Like, listen, for all of you Zelda fans that are like, hey man, fucking lay off Link to the Past or Link's Awakening. I like this game is going to get a fantastic score for me. I love this game.
Absolutely.
But it is like I frankly, if I could change something, I don't even know if I'd know how to change the inventory system. I guess maybe I would make it where you could hit select and like have your item just swap. Maybe that would make it. I don't know, but
yeah, that
maybe,
could be an easy solution.
yeah, maybe something like that. But I'll tell you what I would do, and that is I would have the whole map unlocked from the start. You could still
Yes.
put the grid on top, but at least that way, when it's like, fuck, I know where I need to get. Like, I'm seeing the sign that is saying, Frank's
Tall swap or whatever.
Yeah, Frank's fucking temple shed is to the left, and then I can't figure out how to go to the left. Like, let me look at the map and see, like, oh, you need to go up a little bit and then over to the left and then back down to get into there. But when you haven't unlocked those tiles, there's no way to figure that out.
I'm gonna ask you a tough question. Do you remember if you get the full map in the Oracle games?
I don't remember. I never played Oracle of Ages. I only played Seasons. Love that game, by the way.
They're
But
both great.
I don't remember. I played that once years ago. I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember either. Played it last summer, but
Good
I do
games
not
though.
remember.
I love those games. Those are two
Yeah.
more that I'm really hoping that I would love to see the Oracle of Ages. I know we're going off the map a little bit, but like, first of all, you should all be used to that by now. Here on Remember, it's 295 episodes. I have the attention span of a fucking I don't know, of a fucking comedian, but also
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
talking Zelda. Like it's fun to just talk Zelda. I would love to see the Oracle of Ages and Seasons games get the same remake treatment that Link's Awakening got.
Oh, yeah, boy, I would love that too. And you know what? I would also love to see Link to the Past get the exact same, like in the
Me
same
too.
engine, same graphics. Oh, I would kill for that.
Me too. I don't know if it's true, but my understanding is that Link Between Worlds was going to be a remake of Link to the Past, and then they decided to just make it its own game. I might be talking out of my ass there.
I
But
think that is true, but I also believe that Link's Awakening was also supposed to be a Link to the Past remake, and then they made it its own thing.
I think you're right. Yeah.
I
Well,
think that's also true.
that's fucking wild.
Yeah.
They're like, like Link's. It's like Link to the Past is like, we have perfected the recipe for grilled cheese.
Yeah.
And then they're like, let's try it with some new bread. And then they were like, we could put some bacon in there. We could make this a whole new fucking sandwich. And it was, anyways, I'm hungry.
There's Montreal smoked meat in there now.
Yeah. Man, I haven't had a grilled cheese in a long time. Grilled cheese is good eats.
I
Anyways.
could grill me a cheese.
Oh, buddy. There's just, when you're drunk at like 2 a.m. Oh, buddy. A couple of big fat grilled cheese with like some chips or something. Forget about it.
This is what happens when we do a podcast right before dinner.
Yeah, no shit. No shit. And we're both on no sleep, and it's like, fuck, shut up. Here's your podcast. Eat it.
We barely touched Link's Awakening.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to complain about. Like, I love the collectibles game, the trading game. We'll get there.
I don't love in this game, and probably just because I'm poor, but there's like all these things that you can do, I think at Mr. Wright's house that require like the Game Boy printer and like the Game Boy camera. Like they're really pushing these bad peripherals.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I've never owned any of them. I've never done any of those things either.
I had the Game Boy camera, but I never had the Game Boy printer. I didn't know anybody who had the Game Boy printer, ever.
Nobody had a Game Boy. If you're listening to see you had a Game Boy printer, like,
hit us in the comments. I want to know who got the Game Boy printer.
Yeah. Also, like, you should probably talk to a therapist because your parents probably didn't like you.
Yeah,
that's why they got you that fucking printer. What a crappy gift. You're like, did I get a new game? And they're like, no, but you could print off shitty pictures.
They're like, no, but we're going to give you trauma in 30 years.
Yeah,
here's your fucking Game Boy printer, you piece of crap.
Fucking Game Boy printer. Trying to think. Oh, one other thing I don't love about this game. I gotta say that fucking owl is there, and he's long-winded again. Fuck, I hate that owl.
I disagree. The owl rules.
How do you like the owl in every game or just this one?
I don't like him in Ocarina of Time, but I like him in this one.
Why?
I don't know. I don't know. He does the exact same thing. I don't know, but for some reason, it's comfortable here, and it kind of... You know what? This is it. I feel that the owl's whimsical nature and, like... Because in Ocarina of Time, that's more of a realistic version of Hyrule. Who the hell is this owl? They never explain. Sure. But in this game, it feels kind of at home.
I mean, I'll concede the fact that, like, he fits better in this world than he does in Ocarina, but, like, I still fucking... I'm like, go away. Like, go. Isn't there a kid eating a Tootsie Pop somewhere that you need to go lecture? Like, fucking leave me alone. I hate that.
I do, however, like, smash A all the way through it, and then it gets to the point where it's like, do you want me to repeat it? And I hit yes, and I'm like, and I gotta watch it again.
Aggravating.
Yeah.
So I don't, I hate that owl. I don't like the owl, and this is a minor thing, and I don't... honestly, it depends. There are times where I'm playing it, I'm like, I think this is kind of neat. There's times where I don't, but by and large, if I had the choice, I would remove the random drop power-ups. I get they were trying to do something different. You can get like the acorn or like the piece of Triforce, and they make you like super powerful for like a short time.
Yeah,
I get what they were trying to do. I'm not a big fan. It feels cheesy to me. It just feels out of place to me. I don't know.
Like maybe that bit didn't need to be there. I never took beef with it. I found it annoying though, like if you picked one up and then like if like the last enemy on the screen dies and drops one of those, then I'm like, oh well.
Yeah.
What do I do with this now?
Yeah. And and like I don't know about you, but like it feels like they drop them a lot.
Yeah, it does feel like there's a ton. We're nitpicking, but yeah, it definitely feels like there is a lot of them.
We are nitpicking, but you know why we're nitpicking? Because it's like I feel obligated to try to cover the bad, and I'm like, there's just not a lot of bad.
Yeah, it is.
Like,
it is true.
Like I'm good. I think I've done my venting. I want to get to all the stuff I like. Have you got anything else you want to bitch about?
Nope, because
All
I
right.
like everything else about this game, baby.
All right, perfect. Well, then, before we get into all the good, I'm going to give the listeners something to bitch about and let an ad here play. So I don't know, skip it or do whatever the fuck you have to do, and we'll be back in a minute, and we'll get into the good. We'll perform fellatio on Link's Awakening. We'll be right
What?
back after this. All right, there we go. Let's get into the good stuff. I gotta say, dude, first and foremost, I know I've kind of talked about it a little bit already, but I genuinely admire the graphics of this game.
Yeah, I
Like,
agree. When I was a kid, I played this game through the DX version. I've never played the original,
mhm.
but the DX version with the added color, like it looks fantastic.
Oh, the DX version was special. When the Game
It,
Boy Color came out, like that, I feel like the Game Boy Color was released for the DX color version of Link's Awakening. Like that was the game that showed like, wow, this is what it
yeah,
looks like when it's not puke green.
and
But
then
like,
they copied the engine for the Oracle games, and we loved it.
absolutely. But even when I think about like some of the other best looking games on the Game Boy, like I'm thinking, people will argue maybe, but like I genuinely think Pokemon Red and Blue are good looking games. I
Yeah,
do think.
yeah,
What's that? Yeah, like I do think it's easier to make a game look good when it's an RPG because you're basically just walking around and then it
and
has a
all of
fight
all
screen.
of the enemies just kind of have to sit still.
Exactly. But I still think Pokemon looks good. I think Mario World or Mario Land 2 looks good. I think Wario Land looks good. Like there's some good looking I think the Donkey Kong Land games were
You know,
ambitious but perhaps a mistake.
You know what
I
is
don't.
something I always forget is that while enhanced by the Game Boy Color, Pokemon Gold and Silver are also original Game Boy games.
Oh yeah.
And those
Oh
games
yeah.
those are fantastic looking games.
Sure. But even with all those games, like I'm hard pressed to think of a game on the Game Boy that I'm sure when this episode goes live, people will fucking message me about
Roast ya.
80 games. Yeah. But I genuinely have a hard time thinking of a game that I think as a whole looks better than Link's Awakening. Cause
You didn't
it's not just the way Link looks from that top down view and everything, but like they did such a great job differentiating the various areas. Like you can tell when you're on a beach, you can tell
Yeah.
when you're in the swamp, you can tell when you're in the graveyard. Like considering they were working with one color, like in 4 shades of black or whatever the fuck.
I'm
I
sure it's
really,
green.
yeah. Like I think all the sprites look great. Not just the enemies, not just Link, but like the villagers. Like I'm never confused as to what I can interact with and what I can't. I just 10 out. I'm not a big graphics guy, but I'm like, this is like 10 out of 10. I really love the way this game looks.
Yeah, I agree. This is a fantastic looking game.
Yeah.
Like even like right now I'm looking at some of the black and white sprites, and yeah, you're right. They look fantastic.
Yeah.
They're
Like
very
they're big, but they're not too big. Like they're
and
big
it's
enough to
like
be detailed without filling the whole screen, you know?
it's just cartoony enough that it like is super believable on a Game Boy.
Totally, yeah.
Oh,
Agreed. So I really like that. I also have to say I rarely keep the music on as a kid. I rarely had the music on when I was playing my Game Boy because we had those 4 AA batteries and you had to conserve them as long as possible. So that meant no music.
yeah.
But
4
the
AA batteries. Good lord, those things
that's
were
what
beasts.
that's what the thing ran on. 4
I
I remember my mom and dad got me a battery pack for my Game Boy, and it was literally, I'm sure some of you had this. It was like a big gray bar. It looked like a bar of soap. It was a
I had one
big
for
gray
my
bar
Game
of
Boy
soap.
Color.
That was the one that like just attached to the back though, right?
Yeah.
Or no, am I thinking the Game Boy Pocket? No,
No,
Game Boy
the
Color.
Game Boy Color had one that just attached to the back.
I had that one as well. I had a lime green. What color was your Game Boy Color? Mine was lime green.
Mine was lime green too, baby.
Nice.
Still have it.
Oh, those were good. That was a good system. And yeah, it had like a handy little battery that just attached to the back. No, the original big gray Game Boy had this fucking like big gray bar of soap with a giant cord coming out of it to go into your Game Boy and then another one to plug into the wall.
Absolutely hideous.
And yeah, it was awful. But I used to take that with me. So I rarely have the music on because I couldn't risk my battery dying. But I have to say too, the soundtrack to this game is it fits it. Like it feels kind of dreamy and whimsical. I love the music in this game.
The music in this game makes me feel very cozy. Like it makes me feel very at home. Like especially the village theme.
Yeah.
That's like just those few notes that are just plucking on some MIDI keyboard, but it's so comforting.
Yeah, absolutely. I really genuinely I like the music in this game. The whole game is just charming. Like I like some of the characters you interact with. I was always when I was a kid, man, I was obsessed with that. There was like the pet chain chomp in the village.
The Bow Wow.
Yeah, Bow Wow. I remember when I found out that you get like at one point you get Bow Wow like to go through that swamp. And I was like, this is the coolest fucking because we at that point knew that thing is a Mario enemy.
Now it's
Like,
now it's peak Game Boy. You're walking a chain chomp through a swamp. That is
and
peak Game Boy.
it was like I can't think. I always hate to get shit wrong because I fucking get 800 messages telling me what an idiot I am. But like, I genuinely can't think of an instance where one of those chomps was on your side prior to Link to the Past. They had killed me in Mario 3 and shit like 100 times. But like to have one that was like, hey, no, this is like a dog that like it even barks. Its name is fucking Bow Wow, and it follows me around, or like it like I can drag it with me, and it like eats enemies in the swamp and stuff like that. Like I just thought that was like the coolest. I don't know what it is. I don't know. Maybe I'm just an idiot, but I thought that was the coolest.
Maybe there's Mario
fucking
Party
thing.
mini games where you have a chain chomp as an ally.
But those were well after the Game Boy, though. That's like
you're saying before this.
Yeah,
this
yeah.
Was like
this
your
was
first experience.
Yeah, this was like my first. I bet you for a lot of us, Bow Wow was like your first video game dog.
Yeah, I
it
bet
was
that
that
is
chain
true.
chomp. Yeah, and I love that guy. I love that little bastard.
Can I tell you what I think the best thing about this game is?
Yes.
You can steal. You can steal. It is so much fun. You can go into the shop, you can distract the guy by running around him and walk out.
That poor shopkeep. I don't know if I knew that. What?
Yeah. Okay. I'm so excited that you didn't know this.
I don't think I knew that.
In Link's Awakening, I don't think you can do it in the Switch version. I've heard people online say you can, but I've never been able to do it. But in the Game Boy version, you can go into the shop, and if you pick up an item and you walk around the shopkeep enough, he gets distracted, and then you can just walk out the front door without paying it. But when you come back to his shop next time, he will say, you shouldn't have stolen. Now you're going to pay the ultimate price. And then he kills you. And then your name, both on your save file and what people call you, changes to thief.
Are you bullshitting me right now?
No, I'm dead.
I'm Googling
dead
this.
serious.
I'll ban you from this show if you're lying. Because I
wouldn't make this up. I'm telling you, you can steal in Link's Awakening.
This feels like we were just talking about it this weekend at the expo. Like we were explaining to kids how before the internet, if you found like a secret in a video game, then you went to school and told your friends, and there was always that kid that just made shit up.
Yeah.
And then you'd go home and try it and be like, that kid's I hate that fucking kid.
I had a friend who told me that he unlocked Sonic the Hedgehog and Tails in Super Smash Bros. Melee. And then I was like, bring your memory card over. And then he did, and he didn't have the characters. And he was like, no, but I'm gonna unlock them.
Motherfuck. You're right. Yeah, thief.
Yep.
That's awesome.
You can
What?
absolutely steal. And then everybody calls you thief, including Marin.
I'm gonna have to play that again. That's fucking awesome. That's like, do you remember The Office where Michael can't pay for his Chinese food, and then they take that picture of him and put him on the wall?
Yeah.
Did you ever see that?
Yeah.
And then it turns out Creed is there as well, because he would also. That's what I think of is like a picture of Link like holding the thief sign, just and this photo just hanging on the wall. Oh, that's fucking awesome. I didn't know that. Well, that just made my day. Another thing I really like in this game, I know some don't. I'm a big fan of the I don't know what the term is, but the trading game.
Oh, the trade quest? Love it.
Yeah.
People complain about this. I do not get it. The trade quest is awesome.
Yeah, dude. The way I can't remember what it starts with. The can of dog food?
I think it starts with
I haven't done it in
years.
Is
there a pineapple at some point?
I think there's like fruit, there's a can of dog food, I think there's bananas.
You know what? I think it starts with bananas because I think you get them out of a tree.
Oh, you might be right. Yeah, there's but basically you just keep trading people. Like it goes through the entire game, and you'll run into people who are like, "Oh, I really need a can of dog food," and you're like, "Well, I don't have that yet, but I'm willing to bet at some point I'm going to have one, and then I'm going to trade it to you." And it's just like a fun little distract because there's that and there's the seashells that you can collect, and
the necklace with the mermaid.
Yeah, and I don't find the seashell collecting half as fun as the trading quest.
Oh, yeah, I agree. I actually don't even know. I don't even think I've ever figured out what the seashells do. What do they do?
I see. think they get you a more powerful weapon. I might be
Yeah.
wrong in that, because I remember on the remake, which I do want to touch on before we wrap this up, but on the remake, I remember I got all but one, and I couldn't find one, and then I gave up.
Yeah, so I'm just
And
looking. If you find all of them, you get a better sword. But I've
that's what I
never had
thought.
a need for that.
No, it's really like, because that's another thing is while we're talking about it, I don't really know if this is a plus or a minus, but like I don't, outside of occasionally getting lost, I don't find this game particularly difficult.
No, me neither. I think this is one of the easier Zelda games for sure, and I think that makes sense because it was on the Game Boy, so they probably couldn't do as complex things as they could do in Link to the Past, and therefore
Sure.
it's just going to be inherently easier because of that.
Yeah, and I think that, the Game Boy was like, I mean, the Game Boy was marketed to everybody. Like Tetris sold the Game Boy to fucking everybody. But outside of Tetris, I would be willing to bet a vast majority of the people playing Game Boy were kids. And so
Yeah.
you didn't want to, you didn't want to wreck any. You could throw in an NES controller. You couldn't throw the Game Boy. That thing. Well, I mean, you could, but it was
Don't. I
that thing
wouldn't.
was a brick. It would go through that would go through a wall or two.
I'll tell you what you
So.
could throw though, a Game Boy Advance. Those things would live through the nuclear
Oh
holocaust.
yeah.
I'm telling
Oh,
you.
the clamshell ones.
Yeah,
Oh, buddy, that thing's just a little. I still have one of those. I love that fucking thing.
me too. It works
Yeah.
great, and it never hasn't.
Great little console. Nintendo, man, it's so funny because you can look at Nintendo and you're like, they've made some odd decisions with some of their home consoles. The Virtual Boy was like, what the fuck? The Wii U I liked, but I know a lot of didn't. I fucking hate the Wii, but their
Not my
handhelds,
favorite.
they have been. Nintendo knows handhelds. Like I don't know if they've ever released a bad handheld.
I like that, like Sony and Sony and Microsoft both at points were like, we're getting into the handheld market, and after like one or two consoles, they're like, nah,
No,
we're
yeah,
not even,
no, yeah,
we
no.
we cannot.
Sony in particular has by and large fed Nintendo their lunch as far as the home console goes. But in the handheld world, man, you don't fuck with Nintendo.
Then they made the PS Vita, and Nintendo humiliated them.
Which is too bad because I like the Vita. But
I've never played one. I've never known someone to own it. Like, I think it bombed pretty bad.
it did. It bombed horribly. Oh, they had fucking you couldn't use you had to buy memory cards from them. Like you couldn't just buy an SD card and put it in, and I think that was a big part of what fucked up because they were really expensive too. Like, and I think that was a pretty big fuck up. But anyway, now we're off topic. I know we do that in this show all the time, but now we're off topic.
You know what I love about Link's Awakening?
What's that?
Insanely great bosses. Insanely great bosses.
There's some very good bosses.
And I'll tell
Link's
you what one
Awakening.
of my favorite one is, and I get flack for this sometimes, but I love the fish boss that you fight underwater.
Really?
Yeah. I love that boss. I think
Why?
that one's really fun.
Why? I'm fascinated. Why? I don't
It
hate
just feels
it,
like a change up in the gameplay, and like it's so novel when it happens. I love the fish one.
I suppose. I mean,
It's a
yeah.
little easy maybe, but I still really like it.
I think my favorite boss in this game is the genie.
Oh, like the one that's in the bottle that you have to throw.
The genie that's in the bottle that you need to throw to like get it to come out.
Yeah,
I thought that was a pretty cool boss.
that one's really fun. I love the one that's just a face that you just hit with your sword.
Yeah, I like that. I like that one too. You know which one I hate though? I fucking and it's in Link to the Past too. I don't know its name, but that giant fucking caterpillar snake thing
that pushes you off the cliff. Yeah, I hate that one, and I can't believe they did it in both games.
I know, and you have to like hit it in the butt, and it just there's no rhyme or reason to it. It just moves around and random. And like you can't even walk up to it with your sword out because every time your sword hits it, it bounces you back, and then you fall off the edge, and you have to hike up and do it again. I hate those fucking things. I don't get it.
And the bird in the nest, that one's okay.
Yeah, the bird is kind of neat.
I don't dislike it. No, I don't absolutely love it either. It just kind of is.
You know what I like about that bird though is, and I guess the fish is the same way, but that's a good segue into this. I love they don't do it a ton, but I like that they sneak in these little side scrolling.
Yeah.
You know, like, and it doesn't matter if it's against a boss or even just when you like, you'll find like a ladder in a dungeon and you go down the ladder and then all of a sudden it becomes a side scroll. There's even Goombas. Like
Yeah,
there's
there's
Mario
a lot of
Goombas.
Mario references in this game. You can also
Yeah.
get a Yoshi doll at the
Oh, that's
crane
right.
game.
Yes, that's right. And like what would normally seem out of place and kind of like, are you sure about this? Like, but then it's like, no, he's dreaming. Anything goes. It's a dream. Anything could happen in here. And I'm like,
I
all right,
remember
guess
when
it
I
makes
got
sense.
this game,
Sure.
the first 2 hours
You
I
remember?
played, the first 2 hours I did was playing the fishing minigame because the fishing minigame is also really fun and awesome.
Oh, I totally forgot about the fishing mini game. Yes, and
Yeah,
there's
there's
like
like
the
a little side road.
yes, and then there's always like the big fat fish that you're trying to get your line to go to, and then when one of the other
Yeah,
fish met it, you're like, "Fuck off! I'm not after you."
and I think the first time you go there, there's a piece of heart
That's
that you
right.
can reel
Yeah,
in.
yeah, and like I'm trying to think because obviously Ocarina of Time had a pretty good fishing game, but I don't think Link to the Past didn't have a fishing game, and the NES ones didn't have. Is this the first Zelda fishing game?
I think this is the first Zelda fishing game, yeah, because
Yeah.
it's definitely in Twilight Princess. It's important to the story of that game.
I like Zelda fishing. But you're
Yeah,
right.
I always
I totally forgot about that. My God, that fuck me. That's my favorite thing about this show is like just the old reminisce and like I totally yeah, you're right. It's like right off the side of the village.
yeah,
And
like
like
right
and you have
right
to
by
pay
where
that
the
guy
chain
to play.
chomp lives.
Yeah, yeah. That fucking chain chomp. Man, what a blast from the past. That makes me so happy. I totally forgot about that mini fishing game. I love that.
I love a fishing mini game in any game
Dude,
personally.
I
Just
agree.
if you're
And
making a
it's
game, just
yeah.
put fishing in it. Why wouldn't you?
The Sea of Stars fishing game, fucking
Dude,
excellent.
super fun.
Yeah, and it's so funny because like I don't know, I know a lot of people enjoy it, but like I detest fishing in real life. I
Yeah,
find
me
it
too.
so boring, and I
I
don't
would
like
never
it
do
at
it.
all.
Yeah.
No, but like in a video game, fuck yeah. You know what I've always wanted to play, but I've never played is like one of those like Bassmaster, like the actual fishing games.
I bet they're fun.
And I'm like,
I
I
bet
wonder if
they're.
it would be fun.
I love fishing
Probably
in
would
video
be.
games so much. I couldn't imagine myself not loving that.
Yeah, it's like I love golf video games, but I hate golf.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I would. You're right. That's a good
I
call.
I feel like the items in this game are kind of just like the Zelda ones.
Yeah,
know?
you know what's funny though is like you're right. You've got most of your basic items like the hook shot and the power glove and all that kind of stuff.
Ocarina and
I do love the I do like I said earlier, the feather. I'm shocked that hasn't been in more Zelda games.
yeah, they
Like
slip it into the handheld games a lot, but like why? I guess
that
you
has a
can
whole
just
other
jump
layer.
in Zelda now, so
Like yeah, but like in these old ones, like it added another layer. Like it was a
Yeah.
big deal because I remember playing this and like anyone that's ever played any Zelda game, you come across stuff that you're like, fuck, I don't know how I'm supposed to get that yet, but I'm sure at some point I'll get like an item that now I'm like, oh, now I know I can go back and get that thing. And I don't know if there's ever been an item in any of these games that I felt like that more than that fucking feather. Because there's so many things you see like on the other side of a bunch of holes, heart pieces and stuff. And you're like, how the fuck do I get across these holes? And then once you get a hold of the feather, you're like, oh. And then you realize you can combine it with the Pegasus boots or whatever they're called in this game. And then you can jump over like 3 or 4 holes. And it's that fuck.
it does
me,
add
man.
a huge layer. It's a
Yeah.
like, boy,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can suddenly do so much more.
And I'm wondering if the reason they put it in Game Boy games is because they have limitations of what they can do in other aspects. So they're like, well, if we add this, like that's kind of that
We
gives
can
us like
program him in jumping by kind of cheating it a bit and making it
yeah,
an item.
yeah. Like now we're adding like infinite puzzles without really doing much. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
And another thing I really like about this, like are you a Mario Brothers 2 fan on the NES? Like I love that game.
I've beat it. I think it's pretty good.
What I like about that game is that it's like it's the oddball. Like I guess Mario Sunshine is as well, but it was like the original oddball Mario game. And I know a lot of people will argue Zelda 2, and I'll hear that. Zelda 2 on the NES is a bigger change of pace than this is.
A very bizarre game that I absolutely hate playing.
You really? I can't beat it. I find it too hard, but I like that game.
Nah, I think that game stinks.
I like that. That's not an uncommon. It's not an
Not,
uncommon opinion at all.
it
But
doesn't stink as much as Skyward Sword, but it stinks. I just
what
said
I,
that so people would shit on me.
yeah, you better get that out there. Yeah. What I like about Link's Awakening too, though, is just, and it again as a kid, I didn't. Truth be told, like as a kid, I didn't really even care about the storyline. Like it was just fun to be playing Zelda on the go. You know, like I couldn't play Link to the Past, so I have this one that I could play when I'm on the road. But as I've gotten older, especially, I really like that. Like Zelda's not here. Ganon's not here. You don't have to go save the Triforce. I know the Triforce pieces show up to make you powered up for a minute, but like the Triforce isn't here. You don't have to go get the Master Sword.
It's a
Like
Link solo venture, yeah.
Yeah, and I know some people have kind of poo-pooed on this game because they changed it so much and it wasn't all of the classic staples you look for in a Zelda game. But
Nah,
I
that's what
like
I
that
love.
I like that they kind of just were like, you know what? Like you've eaten the same fucking, going back to the grilled cheese analogy. It's like you've had the cheese slice grilled cheese, which is the best grilled cheese. You've had that forever. Let's try something else for a change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like Majora's Mask.
Yeah, agreed. Hey, listen, if Majora's Mask just didn't control like somebody with two broken hands, I'd fucking like that game. And that menu, don't even get me fucking started on that goddamn menu. Fucking drives me crazy. But anyways.
Oh man.
Before we get to the remake, because again, when Mark and I covered this game back in the day, the remake didn't exist. Is there
No
anything
remake,
else
man.
in particular? I know we didn't get into like any dungeons specifically, but like I said, I haven't played this game in a few years. And at the end of the day, it is a Game Boy game, and I haven't used this phrase in a while, but like there's just not a ton of meat on the bone with most Game Boy games. I personally feel like we've covered just about everything I love about this game.
I want to throw one more thing out there.
Yeah.
The last boss of this game is one of the best last bosses in Zelda. It's so good.
That's that like demon or whatever the fuck, right?
Yeah, he's got like 5 phases, and like
Yeah.
one of them's like Ganon, and another one is like just a giant ball that you have to hit with your sword, and then you have to like they have like one of them has like the Ganon thing where he throws the ball at you and you have to hit it back with your sword.
Yeah.
It changes, the gameplay changes so quickly, and like you will end up playing it a few different times, but it is so worth it and so much fun. You have to do a lot of trial and error. I love this boss so much.
I just brought it up and I'm like, oh fuck, I remember this. It really, I know it's gonna sound stupid and cheesy but it really does look like what a nightmare boss would look like.
Yeah.
Like in a dream world, you're like, this would be what a nightmare. It looks like an evil demon. Like it fits the tone of what it's doing. Oh, on that note too, sorry, I meant to say this earlier. You know, like in Link to the Past, how you have to go around and collect this what is it, like the crystal shards? Where all the elders are in them or whatever the fuck. I actually really like that in this game. You have to go around and collect instruments.
Yeah, I love that too, especially because they every time you pick one up, it plays the same tune, but it plays it in the style of the instrument.
Absolutely.
Love that.
I would turn the volume up every time I got an instrument.
Yeah, he would juice those batteries to hear that sound.
That was worth burning a little battery for. I really like, because it just made sense. Like not the collecting like crystal shards and stuff like that doesn't make sense, but it's just kind of like, well, you thought of that in 8 seconds. You were like, we just needed a reason for you to have to go to all these dungeons. But the idea of like you have to collect these 8 instruments so that the wind blows, plays all the instruments, and then it'll wake up this fish, which will then get you off of this fucking island. I don't know. Call me simple, but I think that's brilliant. I really like that a lot. Yeah. All right.
And then another thing that I think is just so wild about this game is that it ends with you ending the world and committing genocide on the nice people of this island that you've just spent hours on.
Yes. And that
Incredible.
I had that written down as well. And it almost becomes like, if I'm not, like, again, it's been fucking 4 years since Mark and I recorded the original episode, but I swear we touched on that. Is it not fucked up that like
they all die?
You're almost kind of a villain?
Yeah, I think that's the twist of the game, is that it turns out you're the bad guy.
Like, to escape this island, you need to play these instruments, which will wake up the windfish, which will basically destroy this island by destroying this weird dream, which will kill all of these people off. And it's not just the monsters and the villains, but it's like everyone you traded with, all these, because there's a lot of character in this game. Like, you meet so many fun people, and
and there's like that village of the talking animals with like the hippo chef and stuff.
Yeah. And then you
slay all of them.
You're right. That is kind of
Wow.
like, I mean, I was gonna compare it to something else. I don't want to spoil another game though. So I won't do that. But yeah, like in so many, I'll keep it bold. Like in so many games, you're trying to stop the villain from destroying the world, and in this game, you need to destroy the world to escape.
Yeah.
And so it's like, but then it's like, well, but if this is all a dream, then did any of those people really exist, or are they just part of a
it's
dream?
too metaphysical. I can't get too deep into that.
Oh,
They were real to me.
I should have smoked some weed before this episode. If I had done that, I would have the way you would just have me going for 45 minutes. But I agree with you. That's a great twist. I like that a lot.
It's really good.
The remake came out. I don't know when. I have it on my computer right here.
2019.
That's your prediction?
That's what I think.
2019. Yeah, you fucking nerd.
Dude.
Yes. Oh my god, that dude's gonna be 5 years old right away. That's wild.
Oh god damn.
I remember when they first announced this remake, and for a split second I thought it was Link to the Past. And I was so happy. And then I realized it was Link's Awakening, and I was still pretty happy. And I picked it up, I played through it. Shaylee actually played through this one, and Shaylee never plays games outside of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom and Slay the Spire. But she played through this one. I had to help her a couple of times. She got stuck in a couple of dungeons. But it's particularly the one you mentioned earlier, where you need to push those pillars and all that kind of stuff. But I remember seeing it and thinking like, maybe that's a little too cutesy poo, but I don't think it is. I think it fits the tone of this game perfectly. I love the remake to this game. Love it.
I'll tell you something. I have a bold opinion that I've been spouting for years, and that bold opinion is that this is the best remake of any game maybe ever. It is such a substantial improvement from the original game. It looks incredible. The art style is awesome. I adore the remake. The remake would be in my top 10 Zelda games for sure.
Yeah, it took over my life for a long time, man. I wish I had it physically, and I played through it, and then I gave it to Shaylee, and she played through it, and then I sold it, and I don't know why, because I'm like, it's not like I needed the money. I should have just kept it. I'm gonna have to buy another copy because I want to play it again.
It's really good.
It really is. Yeah,
I lent it to a friend, and I'm like, sometimes I just look out the window while it's raining and miss Link's Awakening.
I like. And then like what's really cool about it is that at its core, it kept the same game. As the Game Boy.
Itself is identical without the Mr. Right stuff. But then with did you ever do the dungeon builder that was in there?
I farted around with it a little bit, and then it just same as Mario Maker. Like I see the appeal, but I'm like, I suck at this. I played with it a little bit.
I played a good chunk of the Dungeon Maker. I thought it was really fun.
Yeah, I thought the idea of it was great. Was really cool. And then just like little things like, oh fuck, the controls aren't as frustrating. Like you're not constantly in your menu. And that kind of stuff. I was very impressed. And I just, again, that art style, like it's gonna sound so stupid, but I genuinely feel like that art style looks like a Game Boy game on modern hardware. Like this is exactly how I envisioned it as a kid.
Yes. That is exactly accurate. I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah, it was great. If you've never played it, I mean, listen, if as we're getting ready to kind of get to wrap this thing up, like if you've never played Link's Awakening, period, if you have a Switch, it's on the Nintendo Switch Online in the Game Boy Collection. I highly recommend it. At least giving it a shot. I think it's a piece of gaming history. But if you've not played the remake and you have a Switch, especially if you grew up playing the OG, like don't sleep on this because you're like, oh, it's a remake of a Game Boy game. It is by far the best Game Boy game fucking ever remade. That's for sure. Yeah, and I agree with Bradley. I don't know. Maybe we'll do that as an episode of Expansion Pass someday. I'll rank my favorite remakes. I don't know if this is my number one, but because I think I need to give that to Final Fantasy VII. But
really?
I'm a pretty big fan of Final Fantasy VII.
It is good. I will say it is good. I also am pretty partial to the Wind Waker HD on Wii U, but like, what am I supposed to do now? Play my Wii U? I don't think so.
Yeah. And like, I mean, this is
am I a barbarian?
This leap is I know they did what they fucking call them, the remakes of the Pokemons,
Oh, like
the
the
Pikachu and
Soul
Eevee ones.
Silver. Oh, the Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee. Ew,
I
that was
never
stupid.
played those. I know some people liked them, but apparently they really dumbed down the combat and stuff. I don't know. I didn't. Did you play them? I didn't play them.
I've played Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu. I think it sucks. I think
Right.
it's a really quite awful remake.
Would you not
Fire Red and Leaf Green do just fine for me.
like? Would you not love to see Pokemon Blue and Red remade like this?
Yeah, of course I
Like
would.
this looks like it's made of clay almost. Like it looks so fucking good.
Yeah, it's like the difference between like style, like art style and graphics. You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
they're using graphics to create something that realistically looks like art,
yeah. Absolutely.
and I love it.
Love this game. Fuck, I love Link's Awakening.
Oh, it's good, man.
I'm not gonna spoil my rankings because eventually we will rank a Zelda game, but I can tell you right now, yeah, like it's in my 5 or 6. Like it's
Yeah.
right on the cusp of my top 5. Not the remake. The remake is too, but I love this game. I grew up playing this game. Probably outside of Tetris, it's my favorite Game Boy game. I think it is the showcase of what the Game Boy Color can do. And I consider it a must. Quite frankly, if someone said like, "Hey, I've never played the original NES Zelda and I've never played Link's Awakening, which one is more of a must play?" Hot
Link's
take
Awakening.
maybe, but I think Link's Awakening is, and I love the original Zelda on the NES. But I think
Link's
this is more of a
Awakening
must
is a way
play.
better game than the original Zelda.
Yeah, and I can't overemphasize how impressive this was on a Game Boy back then. Like this is just I said at the beginning of the episode, I'll say it again. This was to the Game Boy what Breath of the Wild was to the Switch. Where you would play it and be like, how in the fuck is this portable?
Like to the point
Like-
where I bet there was conversations at Nintendo where they were looking at the development of this and they're like, this isn't going to fit on the Game Boy, guys.
Absolutely.
We're not going to be able to do this.
Fucking wild.
Yeah.
We need to score this thing.
How many seashells are there?
Oh fuck, that's a great one. I want to say 50.
Where do you get all 50 secret shells? Yes, you're right.
Old man blank. I can remember numbers as long as they're whole and
And a
useless.
divisible of 5.
You're like, hey Adam, what year did World War II end? I'm like, I don't know. But then it's like, hey, how many seashells are in Link's Awakening? 50, dumbass. Everybody knows that. Like I wish my brain remembered useful shit. Bradley, out of 50 seashells, how many seashells I'm trying to think of a way to say that as a tongue twister, but how many seashells would you give Link's Awakening?
Boy, that is a tough one because I don't want to go. You know what? I'll go 48 seashells. This truly is an excellent game. Very, very good. It kind of bumps some marks off for having the Eagles Tower, which we hate.
Yeah, I do hate that fucking tower. Yeah, I'm gonna it's gonna score. Yeah, I'll give it like a 45. This is like a 9 out of 10. It's a fucking great game. It's a must play. It's obviously got the Super Mario World tax, and well, it's not necessarily its fault. That menu system is a pain in the ass.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know what
button.
the option was, but it doesn't mean like still a fault, still a pain in the ass. So, but no, 45, good fucking game.
Hell yeah,
Bradley,
hell yeah.
good job. It's always good. I know we're both exhausted right now. Like it's 7:45, and I don't know about you, but I don't think I'll be awake in 90 minutes. Like I am fucking tired.
I'll be fast asleep pretty quickly here.
Now before you go to sleep, when you're not sleeping or teaching for free or playing Link's Awakening, you're occasionally streaming. So if people want to watch you stream, where should they do that?
You can pump on over to twitch.tv/videogameodyssey. I've been playing a bunch of really weird indie RPG maker games that people just uploaded to the internet, and they are bizarre, and sometimes they are full of broken English, and it's a lot of fun.
I like it. I'm full of broken English. So that sounds good to me. I like it. You guys can find the link to that in the description of this podcast, like always, assuming I did my job, which I usually do at a moderate pace. So I probably will get that done.
I've never had any complaints.
Listen, dude, I'm not going to lie to you. I have no idea what the next 5 weeks have in store for Remember the Game, but we are 5 weeks from episode 300. And if I don't talk to you prior to that number, we wouldn't have made it to 300 without the 20 plus episodes that you were a part of. So thank you so much for taking so much time out of your busy life to sit here and talk old video games with me, man.
Thank you, Adam. And and if in case I don't talk to you before then, congratulations on 300.
Thanks, pal.
Yeah,
Fucking
you're
wild,
killing.
man. Here's to 300 more. We'll revisit
Hell
this
yeah.
again on episode 595. We'll do it one more time. Bradley, good job. Go get some sleep, pal.
Will do, my man.
That is going to do it for this week's episode. Bradley, thank you so much for giving me a call and gushing, straight up gushing about The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening on the Game Boy. To every single one of you nerds listening to this, thank you so much for picking our podcast out of the trash heap. That is I shouldn't say the trash heap. Well, there's a lot of trash. Some would say ours is trash. But for picking our podcast out of all the other ones. I know there's a ton of retro gaming podcasts out there, and that you roll the dice on ours. Well, that melts the ice in my heart, my friends. Thank you so much. And do not forget to check out Arcade. Massive thank you to my partners over there for showing the show some love and for dropping the old cameo of Adam Blank into those games. You go to arcade.io now, play some awesome modern spins on classic retro titles. You can win cash prizes. You can win Cade that you can redeem for stuff within those games. And you might even be able to pick yourself up a cameo and appear in their games just like yours truly. It is a dream come true to be appearing in video games. This is the fucking coolest thing. So thank you, Arcade. You can find their stuff in the description of this podcast as well, or hit them up at arcade.io. That's it. I don't really know what else to plug. I'm on Twitch. I will be back on there this week. Twitch.tv/rememberthegame. I might be playing retro stuff. I might be playing Beautiful Joe. I might be playing WWE 2K24. But I'd love it if you came by and said hi. If you want more of these, there's literally hundreds of episodes waiting for you at patreon.com/rememberthegame. Subscriptions start at $3 a month. All those episodes can be downloaded onto your phone on Spotify or just about any service you want. They're ad-free. And you get all the voice, so my voice, you can possibly stand. And, I don't know, leave us a good review, would you? I don't know. I'm supposed to ask for those. Leave us a nice review, and that would really make me feel good about myself. So if you want me to think about you the next time I'm touching myself, leave me a good review, okay? That's it. We'll be back tomorrow for Expansion Pass number 210 for all of our patrons, where we will be talking about the one thing we would do if we were calling the shots in regards to Nintendo's next console. Game Patch on Friday will be full of gaming news, and we'll be back next week with a whole nother slab of podcasts, including Purple Monkey Dishwasher number 50, and Remember the Game number 296, which hopefully will be about Beautiful Joe, if everything works out. We'll see, but that's what I'm aiming for, all right? I'm going to thank some patrons and get out of here. Thank you all again for listening, and I'll talk to you on the next one. Cheers, so long, goodbye. Remember the Game is brought to you by our Patreons. I could not puke up all this content every week without all of your support. The following people are at the senior executive vice president level or higher at patreon.com/rememberthegame, and as such, I am contractually obligated to thank them as quickly as possible. So in alphabetical order, a huge thank you to Remember the Game Hall of Famer Slick Motherfucking Rick, a dude named Adam A.B. Killen, Aaron Lawson, Ace McGuy, Adam Blank still has reviewed Mario Galaxy, Adam Blank, don't you dare besmirch the Thunder, what the fuck does that say? The Thunder God Raiden? Oh yeah, right, fuck Raiden. Adam Martinet, Adam's former assistant, AJ McKirgy, Alex McIntyre, Alex R, Alex Ramos, Alexander Camps, Andrew Wright, Andy Hudson, Angry Ticks, Archangel Otaku, A-Town, Atrio Wormwood, Bearded Bastard, Beaver Boy, Beef Dingleberry, Beers of War, Benjamin Atkins, Big Daddy Randall, Big the Cat, Biddy, B-Cuz19, Blaine the Hoagie Man, Blobby Rogers, B Money, Brandon DeZeba, Brian Richmond, Bula, Burt Macklin, Buy Me Bone Storm, Cam Nelly 23, Can't Destroy Her, Captain Steve N, Carbon Fiber Zombie, Cesar, Chaz Hammond, Chicken Gizzards, Chris Fleury, Chris Hill, Profits, Christian Gabriel, Christopher Britt, Chugger 22, Cody Richardson, Cody Thompson, Colin Bollinger, Confused But Still Here, Crystal Lake Management, Dazerith, Dan Fusselman, Dan of Dissect That Film, Daniel Darbles, Darth Skywalter, Dave McGee, Dave Thompson, David Schroeder, DBXJ, that makes sense, I got that one right, Decoy Man, Dem Boys Under Roof, Devin Collins, Diablo Spartan, Donnie the Dude, Walter, Doogie, Doug Dorn, Drugs of Bed, MK, Earl, Elephant Calves, Elijah Burns, E-Man Trucker, Eric James, Eric Hopewell, Fallen Snow Kiku, Faded Sufferance, Flitty123, Frosty Bear, Frosty Feet 492, Fuzzy 99, General Fury, G9 PSX, Gabe, Gluskapin, Graham Kennedy, Guy Who Does Things, Hagel Waffle, High Plains Drifter, Hitchy Poo Holmes. I cancel my Netflix to afford this shout out. Itchy Nutsuru, Human. Boy, I suck at this. Itchy Nutsuru, Inhuman Sumo, Isaias, Jake Carter, Jameer Williams, James Clark, James Juan Francesco, Jeff Bergeron, Jimothy, J. Callahan, J. Nasty 15, Joe Buck, Joe the Sandman, John M. Watkins, John Woodruff, Johnny from Virginia, John of the Adult Children Podcast, Jordan, Juris, Dr. Mario, Just a Fish, Just Car Pranks, Justin Blair, K-Atch, Kevin Monroe, Kia Pup, Laces Out, Dan, Leo, Leroy Westrich, Lil Bunny Fufu 89, Liquor Like Luigi, Lord Longrod, Bon Hugendom II, Lotus, Lucas Shaman, Lucas Valadez, Madam Nutsitch, Makeshift Mellow Magic Money, Marcus Mendoza, Mark Sneed, Matt Babanu, Matt Zeus, Maverick Marty, Max Lagroom, Max Sainted, Mercury 869, Mike Maloney, Mr. Jabroni, Mizuru, Monstrous D Boner, Morgan. I love saying that. Where was I here? Oh, yeah. Morgan, Mr. Papa Giorgio, Musty Beetle, My Left Nut, Nathan Tremblay, Nerdy Hybrid, Nick Creature, No One Cares, Nothing Could Possibly Go Wrong, Oroku Saki's Gardener, Phil Lencher, Fill Up My Mouth with Farts, Plow King, Postman, Put It in H, Quiet Place Queen, Radioactive Man, Randy Barrett, Rated X, Int, Robbie Air, Roger Staubach's Pool Cleaner, Rush's Dog Walker, Ryan Kinchin, Ryan Perry, Ryan Stemmerding, Ryan Whitcomb, S, Sabin, Sam Carpenter, Scary Terry, Scott Brooks, Shank the Rat-Faced Bastard, Shoeboxers, Sharonic, Sleeper Hit, Solomon Soto, Son of a Diddly, Sour Goat Face, Squeak Nut, Squint, Standard Ass Brian, Steve Dalk, Stud Still Smash, Super Jess, T-Bear 87, Tad Pole, Tazelhoff, Ted Explosion, The Big Deal, The Keegs, The Cardigan Wearing Wrestler, The Fletchman, Theodore the Supreme Choserizo, The Ticker Gerbs, Thomas Childs, Thomas Smith, Timmy the Exuberant Turtle, Timothy Sabrinsky, Titan 420, Toby OP, Tom Houlihan, Triple, Tunable Power, Tyler Bauer, VOS Rager, Works for Me, Wilco, Wimp 15, Wolfgang Darren, Wolf Magic 21, Would You Kindly, Wyatt the Surgeon Who's Not a Surgeon, Row, X Maverick X, Yes, It's True, This Man Has No Dick, well, that's what I heard, Youngster TK, Zach Shepard, Zamato, Zane Donovan, Zonko 504, and Z Train 22. Vendu. Was that how you say 22? Whatever. Thanks so much for the support, everybody. Appreciate you. Talk to you later. Cheers.